You don't see that kind of passion from any fans in the NHL ever. I mean, you see people banging on the walls, but you don't see people raising 4 sections worth of banners. It's almost unbelievable.
Anyone can just pay to go to a sport game and say they're supporting, the Bears or whatever, but it's not something that just anyone can be a fan of. It's like it has to be a part of you. It's different than everything else I've ever experienced.
Singing songs about the Great Chicago Fire, about Miss O'Leary and her lantern. I think our team has a great connection with the actual city itself.
Chicago's definitely home, and I think there's a big Chicago pride, that goes beyond the fire. It's like a lot of Chicago city pride, which is great.
When I moved to Chicago, I had a lot of friends who lived here already, and just asking where to watch games and stuff, they all said to come to the Globe, and meeting other Fire fans and loving to watch the game live, and this is the best opportunity to do it. Getting hooked from there.
Chicago Fire were founded on October 8th, 1997, on the anniversary of the Great Chicago Fire. Their first season in MLS was in 1998. And the Fire Ultras were primarily a group of Polish immigrants and other Eastern European countries like Bulgaria and Serbia. What the Fire Ultras did was they brought that style, that Ultras, very visual, loud style of support that they had, when they supported hometown teams back in Europe, and they brought it to Chicago with them when they started going to games here. And the term Section 8 kind of came about in 1999, the second year of the club, when the Barnbirds and the Fire Ultras decided to congregate together into one section at the original Soldier Field, and that original section was section number 8. The name has stuck. We don't, currently now, the Chicago Fire supporters sections, the general admission standing areas at Toyota Park are 119 through 116, but we still refer to the entire area as Section 8. It's a tradition we've kind of kept on just because we always want to recognize our past as we look towards the future, but we also think it's a hilarious name. I mean, the military designation of, Section 8 being, mentally unfit soldiers, it's kind of fitting for what we do. So we keep it, we enjoy it, we embrace it.
I brought quite a few friends to Fire games, and every time they're pleasantly surprised. I think they're all kind of like, what is this about? Soccer, oh, I didn't know we had a professional league, what is this? And then they go and they're just like shocked at how much fun they have and how awesome it is, and they want to come back.
People are standing, jumping, clapping, and singing all 90 minutes of the game. They don't stop. There's always a constant kind of just like a wall of noise coming from that north end of the stadium just being projected onto the field.
The game itself is, you have 11 teammates all working together, and you're using every muscle in your body. You're running, you're kicking, you're passing, you're sweating, and it's a lot of team building. And when you score that goal, and I guess as a player, there's nothing to describe after all that work. To see the ball in the back of the net, it's just an unbelievable feeling.
One of the weirdest things to anyone who comes into Section 8 and isn't really familiar with soccer supporters culture is they're going to see someone in the front of the section on this 8-foot stand in front of them with their back turned to the game, yelling at everyone to be louder. They call that person the capo. It's based from the Italian word for leader, as it were. I kind of made myself known on my first road trip. I was like a 17-year-old kid who went on a trip to Kansas City by himself. And I didn't really know a lot of people at the time, but on the way back I had tons of friends. But because no one knew me at the time, they had no idea what to expect from me at the game. And I guess my voice carries a bit better than other people's, and pretty energetic, I guess, during the games. I got the proverbial call up from some of the guys who do it before, and I've been up there on and off ever since. It's one of these things where it's an honor to go up there because you receive the respect and dedication from thousands of people that are in front of you. I've been up on that stand when the Fire have scored a goal, and just the energy that just gets, it just like hits you so hard. There are very few experiences like that.
I really liked being in an atmosphere that was full of energy, getting to be interactive along with the team as opposed to being a passive fan. It was just completely different to be able to actually play a role in the game.
There's definitely an energy there that you can't really describe. It's a combination of the singing, the drums, the flags, everything, and it's like one moving unit versus just a bunch of fans, kind of cheering on the team.
And we usually go into the stadium, 2 hours before the game, and we'll set up all the flags. We'll bring in like 10, large 12 by 12 flags and extend the flagpole, set them up, hang all our railing banners.
I think if you love soccer in a sort of like grassroots populist kind of way, you love supporter culture in some kind of way. Being somebody who has a degree in sociology and stuff like that, just sort of being fascinated with culture in general, the culture that surrounds soccer is so intensely intricate.
Tifo's a primarily European tradition. It started like in Italy and Eastern European teams and clubs out there back in like the turn of the century. How it came to Chicago would be through that first season at Fire games, and there were two big supporters groups at the time. You had a group called the Barn Burners, who were from Chicago, and they just wanted to make a lot of noise and support the Fire. They like soccer, this and that. And then they also had the Fire Ultras, who were a group of primarily Polish, but there were also other Eastern European people. The basic idea behind Tifo is that it's a large, coordinated, very colorful display of support that either inspires or motivates the team, usually done before kickoff or like at halftime or something, so they see it rather than they're not focusing on the field at the time.
It's very, very integral to the games. It's something that's needed. It's something that shows the team that we're behind them the whole time, that we'll give it our all if they give us our all, and we try to show it through Tifo.
If you search Tifo on YouTube right now, the first most viewed video you see would be of a Tifo display we did against Seattle in 2010.
And in the playoffs a few years back, we had the 4 panels with the stars, which I really liked. It took a lot of hours, and I learned a lot from it, but it was really awesome.
I went to that game in 2009, and I saw that. I'm like, oh my God, like, how much organization was that to actually create that? It was almost unbelievable, because you look at it and you're like, oh my God, like.
Spending our whole day to prepare for this moment of 2 minutes to inspire the team, and then tear it all down. It's worth it though, if it as long as it works out. I really enjoyed coming to games, and I really enjoyed being in Section 8 and being a part of that and cheering. But it was once I started helping build Tifo that I was like really sucked in.
Section 8 is a great fan base. These guys got, man, it looks like Istanbul, Turkey behind.
Those are supposed to be no-nos.
That is a thing of beauty.
Papa sends in. Onstad off his line to the 6.
Are you kidding me?
Takes.
That is a thing of beauty behind Pat Onstad. Oh, man. That is incredible. You're not going to see that in an NBA game.
The basic idea behind Flares, it kind of goes along with Tifo in the sense that it's a large-scale thing that it's very visual and has a pretty profound effect on the stadium itself. It's not very well supported by Americans, particularly, the league itself has a mandate saying flares are absolutely illegal. You're bringing an incendiary device into a stadium a public stadium, so you're technically committing a terrorist act if you pop one of those flares. We use like military grade ones that so they're not going to be like shooting ash anywhere, and it is hard to, but at the same time it is shooting off fire. Almost certainly if you get caught, you're going to be getting arrested. You'll be serving jail time. But it's something that fire fans, and I think what kind of sets them apart from other fans in the league, is that they're willing to make that sacrifice in hopes of inspiring the team. They created Section 8 Chicago, which is a independent supporters association for the Fire. And you know, people can go to home games all the time, but how many people get to go to away games? So one thing the ISA does is they subsidize travel for those things. So traveling all over the country via bus it's an experience, but we have a lot of fun doing it. I mean, those buses are basically a giant 6-hour party on 4 wheels that just go across the country, and we just spread Chicago wherever we go.
To see any kind of group of people that manifests, you know, some larger voice or some larger expression of collective interest is always pretty stunning in some way.
I've abducted a bunch of my friends. Like, as soon as I got into it, a couple of them did at the same time as me. When I became obsessed, other people started becoming obsessed, and it's kind of spreading. It's just an infection.
It's good to be in an environment where you can really, you know, that really kind of fosters that that activity, that ridiculous activity that we somehow justify as, you know, supporting our team and our city. And
as somebody who's sort of watched the sport from like the absolute dark ages in this country, to see it now where we're laying the foundations of so many things, and just, I always think about, like, as being a huge like Manchester United fan, like what would it have been like to be like a Manchester United fan in like 1890 or like 1900, and we are those kind of fans here in America and MLS, and I think that's pretty exciting.
Every Saturday I go down to Toyota Park, and I drink beers, I sing and dance with 1,000 of my closest friends. That's how I view it. Some of my best friends I've met, you know, in the stands at Fire games, and you know, those are relationships I'll have forever.
Fire, fire,
fire, fire, fire.